Loan shark time.
How often do you hear about private equity doing anything other than outright destroying something?
Imagine a young boy whose dream is to play baseball. His parents believe in him, send him to a good school, pay for him to be in tournaments, go to games. That's what we call youth sports. You know what's missing from it? Private equity.
Why would they invest in youth sports though?
It's a $40 billion industry, and PE is already in there. IMG is PE backed, KKR invests in cheerleading. We can finally monetize the final frontier, the dreams and joys of children.
So we can charge more for the fields that they play on.
Oh, we can charge more for everything. Elite schools, expensive tournaments, tickets for parents to watch those expensive tournaments, and everyone's always saying PE makes everything better.
Don't you think though, because of PE's history of only caring about profits, this might negatively affect families that don't have disposable income like this though?
Okay, so it's like I come up with a really good idea and you just like immediately shoot it down.
Private equity is ruining the United States. The easiest way to show it is what is happening to youth sports. The sentence itself shows the problem with the United States in 2025. Youth sports are a $40 billion business. Business? Children trying to have fun outside is now a business? Are you kidding me? Everything has to make a profit. Everything has to make some random rich a of money, and everyone else has to suffer for it. Compared to 2019, the average family is spending 46% more on money for the primary sport that their kid plays. The youth sports industry generated $40 billion last year. That is 5 times the amount of money that the box office made last year. Nuclear hot take, but I don't think children should be priced out of sports that they love because their families can't afford it.
This is a huge issue that is only getting worse.
Kids are now being asked to specialize in one sport at a super young age.
1 in 10 youth athletes experience burnout.
There's research showing that the more they spend on their kids' sports, the less the kid likes it and the more pressure they feel, which stands to reason because parents want a return on investment.
This is Linda Flanagan, a sports journalist and former coach who's charted the emergence of the youth sports business.
Business has invested in youth sports in part because public funding has declined on behalf of parks and any kind of public facilities where kids might play. That has dropped off.
Following the 2008 financial crisis, parks and recreation budgets around the U.S. saw massive cuts. The National Recreation and Park Association released a study in 2018 showing that capital expenditures had fallen nearly 50% from 2008 to 2013.
In 2013, parks and rec spending represented 1.9% of local government expenditures. So it's a very small amount of money that towns devote to these public play spaces. And with the shrinking of public investment, private entities stepped in.
And it has led to a cataclysmic effect on youth sports. Take this guy, for example.
This is not a moment for small changes or reforms. This is a moment for a fundamental rebuild of the left. First of all, we are not listening to the people we claim to represent. We claim to be the party of the working class, the party of poor people. And yet we let interest groups and think tanks tell us what those people need. Americans are exhausted by a neoliberal economic order that has consolidated power in the hands of the few. Democrats need to understand that Republicans start by examining the way that people are actually feeling and then matching policies to the way that they're feeling. Democrats need to start doing the same thing. If we did that, we would pick bigger fights. We would be a more populist party. We would name the corporations and the billionaires that are screwing people, and we would take it to them. Now, that's something that the Harris campaign did not do. And frankly, when leaders in our party like Bernie Sanders do it, they largely get shamed or shunned as dangerous populists. Maybe that's because if we actually were fighting billionaires, if we were actually engaging in true populist economic ideas, it would hurt our coalition, which these days tends to be higher income people who don't want the status quo fundamentally upset.
Connecticut Senator, yes, Senator Chris Murphy.
So my youngest son plays hockey, and youth sports was one of the last places that private equity hadn't figured out was ripe for consolidation. But they're doing it as we speak. And so I was just told this last weekend that if I live stream my child's hockey game, my kid's team will be penalized and lose a place in the standings. Why is that? Because a private equity company has bought up all the rinks in the Northeast, has installed their own closed-circuit camera system into all of the rinks, has provided a paid-for subscription service to all of the families, and has required any team that wants to play at the rink to tell their parents that if they videotape the game, instead of paying and having your parents and your aunts and uncles pay for the subscription service, your team will be docked points in the standings. Now, word is just getting out about that small but really important change, right? You can't videotape your child's hockey game to show to their grandparents. The hubris of these companies, right? The unchecked power that they have is in the middle of boomeranging on them. But only if we organize, only if we realize that this is a unifying message.
Because he spoke on this, and it is flat out insane. In a groundbreaking piece from David Sirota's The Lever, Luke Goldstein reports, parents are forced to subscribe to these companies' exclusive recording and streaming service, which can cost many times more than the streaming costs for professional sports. Meanwhile, the firms' exclusive contracts have prohibited alternative video services from being made available. As Murphy stated and Goldstein prints, if parents do partake, they can be blacklisted or their kids' teams can be punished altogether. What a world. One private equity company that has youth hockey on lock is named Black Bear Sports Group. They are the largest owner-operator of hockey rinks in the United States of America. Reports have surfaced of those working at rinks taking recording devices if they are in sight. The streaming service cost per month is ranging anywhere from $25 to $50. That is more than Netflix, HBO Max, and say Amazon Prime Video. That's absurd. More from Goldstein. In addition to recording rules and associated costs, Black Bear is starting to add a $50 registration and insurance fee per player for some leagues. That's on top of what players already spend on expensive equipment, team registration, and membership to USA Hockey, the sport's national governing body. Goldstein would link to a change.org petition that read in part, hockey is already a very expensive sport to play. Adding an additional fee is unnecessary and makes an already hard to access sport even more difficult, especially for the newbies. We already have issues adding new and keeping current players and teams. This doesn't help. The additional fees risk killing our league as it has already shrunken from previous years. Black Bear Sports Group does not have a good reputation in the hockey world, I wonder why, and is known for predatory practices of its customers like price gouging. Easily seeing that. This comes as an alternative to the USA Hockey registration fee. Another paragraph on the petition. This isn't the first time Black Bear has stepped away from partnering with another company just to line their own pockets. Just a year ago, Black Bear Sports Group launched Black Bear TV, which allows streaming of games within their facilities. Does it sound familiar? It's because Live Barn already existed. Except now, with Black Bear TV, they can pick and choose which games are available instead of having them all available. This would result in a lawsuit filed against Black Bear by who else? Live Barn. Again, Black Bear does not have a great reputation amongst the hockey community. Again, we can see why.
Think about any sport that you play in. You want to play some form of like above average level, you have to pay for the camp. You have to pay for the coaches. You have to pay for travel. You have to pay for the equipment. You don't even get the equipment anymore. You have to buy it yourself, and that already costs hundreds of dollars. It's only going to get worse because 2 years ago, IMG was bought by private equity, and we all know that's going to trickle down to AAU, travel ball, any sort of pay-to-play system in the United States is going to get exponentially worse.
Goldstein would add, according to a recent study from the Aspen Institute, households now spend an average of $1,016 a year on their child's primary sport. Since 2019, that is a 46% increase. That is absurd. As a result, a ton of kids from lower income families are being priced out. And trust me, it gets a lot worse. A company called Unrivaled Sports, run by two vets of Blackstone, the world's largest private equity firm, is rapidly consolidating baseball camps, flag football, and other leagues. I told you it gets worse. The operation even bought the iconic baseball mega complex in Cooperstown, New York, the birthplace of the sport, where the Hall of Fame is located, and where summer tournaments draw teams from around the United States of America. Furthermore, Bain Capital-backed Varsity Brands has cannibalized the competitive cheerleading arena and now acts as a gatekeeper controlling access to the sport. In the end, as Bomani Jones eloquently put it, as private equity, when they buy up something, have the people benefited at all? Has it had a positive impact? The answer is obviously no. What you are seeing is private equity invading public spaces and profiting off of them. And this problem, which it is only going to get worse because every single private equity firm has a board that wants to increase profits year over year. And I suppose the best way of combating this is organizing once again, because I must ask you, my loyal viewer, are you sick of capitalism yet? Hey, I appreciate you watching. Now, if you can, please do become a channel member by going to youtube.com/TYTsports and clicking the join button. If that's too much for you, you can just go to tyt.com/join to become a member. It helps all of us out here at the Young Turks and keeps our network afloat. In addition, you could follow me on my socials on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Appreciate the love. Have a great day.